Oh.
What?
Impressive. Oh no. Oh.
Did you do that?
No, it did it itself. Oh god.
Looks like that was up there.
Okay, so welcome back from hiking 50 miles in Hawaii. This was actually my first time visiting Hawaii, or even just somewhere tropical for that matter, so that was pretty different from what I'm used to. I spent 2 weeks on 3 different islands just hiking as much as I could. I think I went in the water or the ocean a total of 3 times, which is ridiculous. And I was mainly just sleeping in my car rental and in campgrounds, because a lot of the backpacking routes in Hawaii you need permits for, and I just was not able to get permits for. And you'll find that that's a common occurrence in Hawaii, is you need permits for a lot of things. So this trip just pretty much turned into me winging a bunch of day hikes, which ended up being just as fun. And a lot of the campgrounds you do need permits for, but if you show up, late and leave around 7 in the morning, you can get away before permits are checked. So it's a little hack right there. By the way, a lot of these names I don't know how to actually pronounce, so I'm just winging it. So sorry if I pronounce anything wrong. The first island I stopped at was Kauai. And Kauai ultimately became my favorite island out of the 3 that I went to for a lot of reasons. It was more chilled back, lots of friendly people. Like the locals were nice, and the tourists were also nice. It's very small. It's one of the smaller islands, but there's still plenty to do for multiple days. And it's probably the go-to island if you only have a few days of a Hawaii trip in you. The hikes I did on Kauai were the Napli coast and waterfall, and then I did the one ridge above the coast. And then we did the foggy hike into Waimea Canyon. The one above the coast I thoroughly enjoyed the most. You start up higher in the jungle and you just hike down all the way until you get to the ridge where you can see you're pretty much at the coast, but you're above it. I saw some goats, some wildlife, lots of birds and stuff. And I think there was only 2 other people on the trail. Yeah, and I like being up high, so that's obviously why I liked it a lot. Napali coast was also stunning, but it is one of the more popular hikes in Hawaii. So there were just nonstop people. It was hard to kind of enjoy yourself. Then when you get to the halfway point, you go up to the waterfall. That's when the crowds start to die down a little bit, but it's still pretty busy. Lots of pretty big bamboo forests in the area too. And there was a few swimming holes you could also jump into. And then Waimea Canyon, I originally planned for a little backpacking trip in that too, but the weather was pretty much shit the entire trip. It was raining, foggy. Didn't really want to hike down into a canyon in the rain, so we just turned it into a little day hike down to a waterfall. The waterfall itself wasn't that pretty, but the hike down to it was very nice. So if you get some good weather on your trip, make sure to enjoy that canyon as much as you can and do multiple hikes there. Also, I was joined by Will and Molly for this part of the trip. They had to go after that, but it was fun to hike with some people, not just alone. So right after that, my next island was Oahu, and this was a pretty big change of pace. It's absolutely packed. I think there's close to 1 million people on that island. So big city, tons and tons of people. But actually, I was still able to find some hikes to myself, which was really nice. I didn't expect to at all, but I did. I think the most hikes on that island, just because there's so many hikes, plenty to choose from. It's honestly a little overwhelming sometimes how many hikes there are. I slept in my car every night, just in a parking spot. Did get kicked out of a few spots, but it's to be expected there. I even woke up one night to a bunch of bugs and cockroaches in the car, which kind of ruined the rest of the nights that I was there because I was worried about that. And then I did a few hikes that weren't in the video, one on the coast, short one on the coast that was up to a crater. That was fun. I definitely recommend it. And then the favorite hike I did on the island, I didn't record. It was really bushwhacky, kind of unmaintened trail, do at your own risk into the jungle up to a crater. There were some really sketchy spots. I even saw like a really big, nasty centipede that I did not like. But overall, it was just like a really fun adventure. So I would recommend doing that. I'll link it in the notes below. But yeah, it was definitely scary being in the jungle alone like that. I would try to bring somebody with you. But as far as the 2 I did in the video, it was the coast and then the legal way up to the Stairway to Heaven. The coast was definitely my favorite coast hike out of the ones I did. And for that one, I would recommend starting early and avoiding trying to go right after rain because it was very muddy and it wasn't even raining for me. And then the Stairway to Heaven was one of the more popular hikes in the Hawaii, but still wasn't too busy, just people every once in a while. It was very brutal. It's almost all uphill, but it's worth it getting to go on the stairway a little bit, even though it's illegal, and then looking down at the city and the ocean down below. I found parking in the neighborhood for that. I would show up early before storms come in and before more people show up. And then after that, I flew to Maui. Maui was a really weird island. I'm definitely mixed about it. One end, I ran out of things to do pretty dang fast, but on the other hand, it had some of the best, more casual exploring, like just driving around, sightseeing that I did. The left half of the island's pretty empty, not much to do except drive on the coast. But on the right side had to be one of my favorite drives that I've ever driven. It was just like a single lane road that went through like just green coastline. It was like really curvy and bumpy, and it was beautiful to see some old buildings. And then you get to the bottom of the national park that's on the coast. I got to explore that a little bit. But yeah, I was just in constant awe of how pretty that dang drive was. And then I was up to Haleakala National Park. Sorry, it's hard to say. Which was the big crater moon-like Mars hike that I did. It was out of this world. I just started up above on the ridge and hiked down into it. It was one of the longer hikes I did, but it honestly didn't feel long at all. And I think I enjoyed being alone most on that hike. Didn't feel dangerous or anything. Yeah, it was just something completely different than anything I've experienced before. Really high up, but honestly, the altitude didn't affect me too much. I think it sits at 10,000 feet. It's a bit of a jump if you're not used to altitude. So if you need to acclimate a little bit, I would give it some time. I was fine, so I just jumped right into it. But yeah, that hike that I did can go even further, and you go all the way to like the end of the crater, and then there's a cabin that you can sleep at. That looked really nice. I think it had filtered water that you could drink and places to sleep. But once again, you need a permit for that, and I just could not get one of those. But yeah, overall, I would definitely recommend doing a bunch of day hikes in Hawaii. And I did this trip pretty cheap, obviously sleeping in the car rentals. If you start doing hotels and stuff, it can get pretty pricey. Hawaii is not the cheapest place to visit. But yeah, I still had a good time even without touching the water much. Oh, and I'll put all the hikes in order in the description for you, and I'll also include some of the ones that aren't on camera that I did. And I'll rank each one in the description so you can see my favorites there. Yeah, and before I wrap up, if you enjoy this video and want to see some more silent hiking videos, I have a whole playlist of like Nepal, Alaska, Wyoming, Colorado, stuff like that, and I'm planning to do a lot more this year. I can't wait to get back out there and do some more international travel this year. So yeah, as always, I'll catch you on the next adventure. Also, shout out to the chickens. Definitely made the trip.